So this is Rabbi Yosef Chaim MIMRAN again. And in the last year I pointed out that I'm not particularly good at this, although I think about it a lot. And Rabbi MIMRAN, I spent a long time, I spent 4 years learning with Rabbi MIMRAN. We were learning different things, not just this. And this is actually the main thing that I was learning with him were what we call kavanot, the Rishash, and different things like that. It was very, very difficult for me to get into. Now, at the same time, he was working on this book. So this book was published really towards the end of our relationship. And I guess you have to grow. For me, I need to do this. The question is when, where, how. And he wants to teach us. He wants to show us how. So here we go. These are quotes from Rav Aryeh Kaplan's book on Jewish meditation. He calls it practical Jewish meditation. I don't know what that means. So he says preparation for meditation is as important as the meditation itself. As the proverb goes, to prepare is to prepare to fail. Since Rav Kaplan Zitzal summarizes the process beautifully, I felt that it was no need to duplicate his words, but rather let them speak for themselves. So this is Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, who wrote a book on Sefer Yetzirah, many different books. A person who had a background in physics, and I see that in learning deep sod in this way is related to people who learn physics. Why? I don't know, but well, I could guess. Physics has to do with the very abstract looking at the beginning of how things work. That is how the physical properties of the universe works. So this is what we're doing also. So he said that the verse is used visually as the basis for meditation. So he's meditating using a verse. So this goes back a little bit on the last idea. So let's say if the verse is used visually as the basis for meditation, write the verse on a piece of paper and use it as a focus. Fix your gaze on the verse. Do not take your eyes off it. The verse should become the center of your attention to the exclusion of everything else. Now, he didn't say a word, which I often think that that's what I would do. I like take the name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, like and stare at it. That's what he says. Here he says a verse, a pasuk. So in other places I see in the Rishash, at the Kriya Shema Lamita, and other places, things I don't understand, but I keep looking at them anyway. But each day of the week, each night of the week before going to bed, you have a whole bunch of tikkunim that you could do for various different averas, particularly shvichas zera lebatala. It should be seen as if nothing else in the world exists other than the verse. You can then gaze at the verse, and allow your thoughts to flow freely. So he says, there should be nothing else in the world, and as you're gazing at it, you continue to concentrate on that, and then your mind can flow freely. On a more advanced level, you could use this method to clear the mind of all thought other than the verse. In lieu of gazing at the written verse, you could repeat the verse over and over for the entire period of meditation. This would be a verbal meditation, vibrations, as opposed to a visual contemplation. So I'm wondering, and I could really show it, but I don't have it here right now, all the different combinations of the Kriya Shema Lamita really refers to different verses. And then what happens to the verses as you say them, and it's showed in pictorial form, of course it's in Hebrew letters. So I'm looking at them, but I just don't know what I'm looking at. Maybe this is what I should be doing. So he says, in general, the preparations for meditation are straightforward mantra meditation and simple. You should meditate in a time and place where you will not be interrupted or disturbed by people, phone calls, or noise. It was best to have a special room for meditation if possible. Now see Rabbi Nachman in Breslov, where he speaks exactly like this, but there he's speaking from the vantage point of Ukraine. Mezhvej. Mezhvej, there are forests all around it. It's a farming area. It was best to have a special room for meditation if possible. Since this is a luxury that few can afford, you may choose a special corner of the house, a special chair or a room where you can be alone at night when no one's about. Place is really not important as long as it is an environment where you will not be interrupted. You can even meditate under the covers in bed at night, if that is a place where you know you will not be disturbed. An excellent place is available, if available, would also be the synagogue, and when no one is around to disturb the meditation session. Now, I can think about this because I'm the type of person that really can like to be alone like that. And I know that I've seen it before, that synagogues, when they're empty, are fantastic places for meditation. Now, again, I'm not happy with the word meditation because it's too much associated with Eastern meditations and things like that. But let's go on. Many people associate the meditation with the Eastern lotus position. However, we should remember that in the East, it was common to sit on the floor or on a mat, so that the lotus position was close to the normal, comfortable sitting position for Eastern meditators. So I traveled in the Middle East. I didn't make it to China or India, but it is true that in the Middle East, people don't have furniture like we have. They don't sit in chairs. They sit on the floor. For me, squatting is very difficult, but for them, it's normal. So that's the way that you see that. So he's saying to you that even though you see, like in yoga positions or different kinds of positions that you want to be in, they really work very well, but actually they're culturally based. So for us, we don't really need to do that. If you want to do that, nothing wrong with it. But if you don't need to do that, to learn how to sit in a certain position and think that awareness would come as a result of it, he says not necessarily. For Westerners, the position is difficult to learn. That's what he's talking about, the lotus position. It is initially quite uncomfortable. In practice, it is found that sitting in a comfortable straight back chair is just as effective. So he says during meditation, sit with the eyes lightly closed, totally relaxed. Your hands can rest comfortably on the table or on your lap. Your fingers should not be clasped or intertwined. Let's go over these things again, because they're important. He says, keep your eyes lightly closed, relaxed. Your hands can rest comfortably on the table or on your lap. Your fingers should not be clasped or intertwined. There should be no, eliminate tension. As the Kabbalists teach that this should be avoided. Now, intertwined fingers, I don't know why, but they're intertwining your fingers is something they want to avoid. Rather, if your hands are together, one should rest lightly on the other. Now, usually they say that the left hand should have the right hand on top of it. Before beginning a meditation, settle yourself in the place. Now, you have to get settled. So this means now you're in a place where you're not going to be disturbed. So, and you're settling in there. This means sitting quietly in the place where you will be meditating, fitting into it and making yourself at ease. Now, so you want to sit down, you want to relax, be in a comfortable place. During this period, try to relax completely, clear your mind of all extraneous thoughts and concerns. Now, he has been pointing out to us how we can learn to look at our thoughts. And this is a way of putting the thoughts in their proper position as something that's going on, but it's not necessarily us. The us is watching it. That was his idea, which I try. Not so easy. Some people find it helpful to hum a relaxing melody during these preparatory moments. This period should last between 5 and 10 minutes. In this respect, the advantage of meditating in the same place every day becomes clear. You will come to associate that place with the serene mood developed during meditation, and after a few days, the calmness comes automatically as soon as you sit down in your meditation place. This tends to reinforce the process and make it easier to advance. So let us assume that you are using verses such as Ribono Shel Olam. Now this is one that the Kabbalists always use, Ribono Shel Olam, Ribono Shel Olam, Ribono Shel Olam, and you keep repeating it. The Hebrew word for universe is Olam. On the other hand, the Olam is derived from the root Alam, meaning to conceal. So therefore, I'm saying before he says it, he says that you say, Master of the hidden. Therefore, in Hebrew sense, the universe is seen as that which conceals the divine. Thus, when one says Ribono Shel Olam, denoting Master of the universe, one is saying that concealed behind the universe there is a Master. Inside of it, Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the hiddenness. He is the cause of it. Thus, in repeating the mantra, one is making oneself aware of the hidden reality behind the visible one. So there are others. This is where we're going to stop today. Last time I looked at this was on the 23rd of, I can't really realize that ER 83 of 5783 was 2 years ago. We'll see it again. This is a book that takes repetition. There's a lot to learn here. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kolo. We have our first reference coming from the great Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, brought here by Rabbi Yosef Chaim MIMRAN.